Hello everyone, welcome to Dell EMC Networking Tech Talk with OpenManager Network Manager, and this session is for OMNM 6.5. This is Bill Acevedo, and today we're going to talk about reports and the reporting framework. So the first place to start with reports is understanding that these are out of the box generated as PDF files, and so you do need to enable PDF in your browser. I have a Chrome browser here. It may be different obviously for IE or Firefox, but generally you need to go to the settings tab here. You need to go to your advanced settings at the bottom. And generally you want to go to the content settings. And so this is where we want to find the PDF section. And we want to make sure that we're allowed to do PDF documents. So you see here at the bottom. And so generally download PDF files instead of automatically opening them in Chrome. If you say yes, it's going to try to download that, and then you'd have to use your local Adobe Acrobat on your operating system. If you want to use the browser PDF functionality, you need to disable this, so you don't want to download them. So just make sure you have that checked, and you should have no problem seeing the PDF files. Otherwise, you'll see a blank PDF screen. So on reports, all reports basically start with a report template. And then once the report template is created, you can generate reports from these. Before we dive into how that's done, let's just talk a little bit about the reports portlet. There is a wide variety of preceded reports already in here, and so you can simply search for things that you might be looking for, like a firmware report. Just type in part of the word there. You'll see various reports. If you want to do asset or something like that, and so you can just search for those, or sometimes if you want to go specific, it really depends on the report name. So keep that in mind as you create your own reports. How you might want to standardize on some sort of a naming convention. To execute reports, generally you're just going to go and right-click, execute report, and down in your what we call My Alerts down here, you'll see this little pop-up here, and you'll say that the report's now ready for viewing. You simply click on the magnifying glass, and then you're going to see the PDF of that. And so this is a simple table report of your basically your asset information, and so you can scroll down through that. Now you do have the option to download it here or print it, and so that's how you see the reports there. The other option is if you want to do some more advanced type of things, you can go to the execute advanced here. In this case, you're not constrained to PDF. You can create CSVs or HTML files as well as PDF. And so the advantage here is that you can email these to people and notify when it gets done. So you simply click that and add the email addresses of whomever needs to get that report, and they will receive that report. You can also put it on a directory on the local drive. Simply put the path in here and add it. And so it will just continue to add files to that. And if you want to overwrite files and only have one copy, you would select that box. Again, you can schedule these. This is a good example of where you want it for like an executive set of reports where you want to send a batch of reports to your admins. You can batch them up here and just set them off in one schedule and send them all at once. Now, that brings up another thing here is you can add grouping of reports as well. And so you can add a group of reports here, call it my group or something, and simply add the reports here. And so just basically select the group of reports, done, and you can save that and then execute that group as you need to. So, so that's kind of a high level on the reports. So as I mentioned before, there's templates, and then there's the report that goes along with the template. And so on the template side, we have a whole bunch of templates that are associated to existing reports, and so you can see the template listed here. And so you can go in and actually find something like this inventory asset report and just search for that as well down here. Just type in my inventory, and there's my template right there, and we can easily see what is in that report. So I'm going to go by editing it. We can see here that we have some initial report parameters, some layout settings, and then we go to the source attributes. This is where the attributes for your columns or your data is selected. And so this one was basically an inventory type of managed equipment. And when you select that, when you're creating a new one, you're automatically populated with all of these attributes available for you to select. And so you'll see if these are the default ones. If you want to add other things in here, you easily can. location details. You can keep adding whatever you want. Just keep in mind that you're going to be constrained by the width of the page that you have on a PDF report, and maybe less so if you're using HTML or CSV. You can also customize those reports by removing things. If there's certain things you don't want to see, you can do that as well. You can also copy these, and so if you don't want to mess with the default inventory asset report, simply just copy it, call it your own name, and then modify the source here. Now, not only can you modify the source here, but here's where you can also affect the layout, and the order of the columns is dictated by this order here, and so you can move these up or down however you see fit. And then if you click the little page icon, you'll have additional options for further customizing that particular attribute. So you can actually change the name of the attribute. It doesn't need to be what we call it. If it makes more sense you call it something else, then you can do that. How you align it, column, sorting priority, grouping if you have lots of data you want to group on, different font sizes and colors and that sort of thing. So you have some control over how that report gets laid out. So you would simply save that, and then once you save it, it's going to automatically, if you go to create a new report, it's going to pick up that last template that was created. Now I didn't create one here, so there's none here, but normally it would populate here what that template was. But or you can select the template that you want to use. Simply select it, and then just name your new report. Click save, and then you have a brand new report ready to go that you can execute. Let's take a look at some just examples of other types of reports. You may have noticed. Well, maybe not, but there's a few different types of reports. We saw the table template and table report, and that's just columns and rows, but you can also do comparison and trend templates. And so these are created in exactly the same way, and I'm just going to go here to my demo examples here. So we have, for example, a demo comparison. And so again, it's the same way. You can just go and create your default settings here. Pick your source attributes. Now, when you're doing a trend, obviously you want to limit your attributes. You can't trend many different things. Generally, it's only one thing you're trending, and this is going to be against all your devices generally, but you can control that within your report itself. So I'll show you that in a second here. So you pick your attribute, and then you can set your layout to some degree with these, and then you'll notice that I have another one here, a report here based on that comparison template. And the thing about this is on the report, you have the ability to filter these. So let's just go to edit here, and you'll see there's filter settings. Again, on the report, you can set the name, title, and subtitles, and but you can also filter. And so especially for time-sensitive data, you may want to have a specific time period, and you may want to have it just based on specific equipment. If you don't pick specific equipment, it's going to try to use everything in inventory, and that makes it for a very cluttered comparison. So let me just show you what this looks like on the comparison. And so we're just doing a simple comparison of CPU across 3 devices. And so you're just basically seeing, for these devices listed at the bottom, and we'll actually show you the filter up here at the top. So this is in basically a percentage kind of thing. So we're looking at an 80% here versus this one down here. And so, so that's one way to do comparison report. Trend report is a similar thing. On the template, you create it the same way. And when you execute that report, simply view that, and you're going to see a trend. Now, this one I didn't filter by device, and so what happens is when you have many devices, it'll put as many as we think is applicable, and then it'll create separate pages for each one of the other devices. And so you'll have multiple pages here showing you that kind of trend for each of those devices. And so you may want to, again, confine that report a little bit. So let's go look at that filter. I'm going to edit it. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I want to go to filter. And so here you see that this one is, all I'm doing is pulling from a specific time period, but I don't have specific devices. But what I can do is I could come in here and add equipment, and I can say equipment in, and click the little page there, and it'll give me an option to pick specific equipment. And that way this report would be confined to just those devices, and so you don't see everything. And so you may want to have multiple reports like this. You would simply save this, and you could basically recopy this report and pull in a different filter of different equipment. The same report based on the same template, and but you could do it for different equipment if you wanted to see different reports for each. And just keep in mind though, that anytime you modify the template, it's going to affect any number of reports that are related to that particular template. Okay, a few more options here. On the right click screen, you can go to details. This will show you the details of when it was executed last. It'll actually show you a little more kind of a reference tree example here, and if it's in part of any groups, and so you see it's part of those groups there. More on the right click here. You can schedule these reports, as I mentioned. Aging policies. So you can accumulate a lot of reports if you're saving them internally, and so the aging policies allow you to go in and control that. So there's one seated here. It's basically for the inventory report, and let's just see what that looks like here. You have various options here. What you'll see here is that we're only keeping 5 instances of this, and we have applied this to all reports. This means that all reports will use this policy, and so if we accumulate more than 5 instances, we'll automatically prune those off. Now you have the option here of creating your own custom policies, and so I can uncheck this. If I click this button here, I can go and pick specific reports that I want to have a separate policy on, and I can apply that here. Basically, this would be 5 instances or 10 instances or whatever you want differently, and you would just say apply that, and that would be the new policy for those reports. Again, you can click the add policy as well. It does the same thing. Pick what you want here for a name, the frequency of how often you want it DAP'd, and then the options here. Pick what reports you want to include. Again, pick some more here, add selection done, and then just click apply, and you'll now have that second DAP policy for those reports. Okay. Obviously, you can delete report history as well there. One last thing I should mention here is you'll notice we created some report groups simply by going to a new group. You can batch your reports. Basically, that's by a group report type. And so you'll see here I have certain groups, and so you can execute those in the same way. And so, for example, if I had this, I can edit the group to show you, but I've got multiple reports in here. I can simply execute the entire group the same way as we did with the single reports by doing execute the report or execute advanced, and it will execute that entire group. So you can schedule those as well if you need to. One other area I should probably touch on a little bit more on is when you create a new template. Let's just go with table for now. Again, just give it a sample name here. Just exploring the source attributes. They're basically laid out in alphabetical order. And so, for example, if you want to do monitoring reports, you can monitor or you can report on the data from specific monitors. For example, the CPU monitor, it'll automatically populate the attributes of that monitor. Or, for example, the interface monitor will bring in those attributes for that monitor. You can simply pull those over to report on those, just like we showed with the other reports. Traffic flow is another time-sensitive one. It's at the bottom under traffic flow, and you can report by portlet, conversations and the attributes associated to that. And again, you're going to probably filter on the time frame for those inside of the report, not inside the template. Other items in here, change management against compliance policies. There's a variety of things here. Event services for alarms and event reporting if you want to create your own custom reports. General inventory objects are just basically in alphabetical order, for example, actions or action items or various other things in here. There's a wide variety of attributes that are laid out in here that you can report on. Might take a little bit of digging around or figure out what attributes you're looking for, but they are in here, and just know that they're by alphabetical order, and should be able to find them that way. But a lot of the preceded reports already cover most of these attributes. So you have the flexibility to create your own or just use the standard preceded ones. Okay, I hope that was useful to everyone, at least for an initial look at reports and reporting framework. And we'll see you on the next session. Thanks.